That morning, no one gave her a seat simply because she wore a headscarf. Zeynep, who remained standing, heard laughter when she fell because she couldn't hold on in the subway. But what she hadn't yet realized was that this morning would completely change her life.
Zeynep Özkan was a 24-year-old master's student studying biomedical engineering at the University of Manchester. Ever since she moved from London to Manchester, everything had seemed normal. She attended classes, worked in the lab, and spent her evenings focusing on her projects in her small apartment. The more she thought about the word normal, the stranger it felt, as if normality was something she constantly had to prove. That morning, the incident on the subway wasn't actually new. For the past 6 months, she had been experiencing similar things. Cafe tables that were suddenly taken, the automatic distance that formed during group work, whispered comments behind her back while she used lab equipment. But that morning was different. Hold on a second, don't miss this detail. When Zeynep fell, the only person who helped her was an elderly Pakistani woman. The British passengers either stared at their phones or looked away. The older woman murmured something in Urdu as she grabbed Zeynep's arm and helped her up. In that moment, the tears welling in Zeynep's eyes didn't fall, not yet. By the time she reached campus, it was 8:45 a.m. Her first class, Biomaterials Mechanics with Professor Davids, was due to start at 9. When she walked into the lecture hall, the conversations abruptly stopped. That silence had become all too familiar to her. And right then, everything changed. Throughout the lecture, Professor Davids talked about material strength tests. Every material has a breaking point, he said. As pressure increases, the molecular structure resists until it reaches the critical threshold. As Zeynep took notes, it felt as though the professor was talking about her life. After class, she was supposed to meet her group project teammates, Emma, James, Olivia, and herself. The project topics had been assigned 3 weeks earlier, but they hadn't held a single meeting. Every date and time she suggested got a "not available" response from the others. This time, she tried something different. She messaged the group chat, "Let's meet in the library at 2 p.m. today. We need to finish the project. The deadline is approaching." Emma replied almost instantly, "Today, again? Zeynep, we already talked about this yesterday." Zeynep stared at her phone. No one had spoken to her yesterday. There were no messages in the group from the day before. But the real shock, she realized there was another group chat. A notification popped up and was quickly deleted, but Zeynep had seen it. Library 3rd floor 2 without Zeynep. Her fingers trembled. She turned off her phone. She tried to breathe. What would you have done?
In that moment, walking through the university corridor surrounded by thousands of students, she had never felt so alone. But what she didn't yet know was that this loneliness would transform her into her strongest self. What you've seen so far is nothing. That afternoon, Zeynep didn't go to the library. Instead, she headed to the campus Student Support Center. She knocked and walked in. A young female counselor greeted her. "How can I help you?" Zeynep started talking about the subway incident, the exclusion in group work, the message she accidentally saw. With every word that left her mouth, she felt her burden lighten a little. The counselor took notes. "Have you reported this to your academic advisor?" "No, not yet." "Good, I'll prepare a report. Isn't Professor Davids your advisor?" Zeynep nodded. "Okay, I recommend you speak with him. The university has protocols for situations like this." Protocols, reports, official processes. Zeynep wondered inwardly whether any of it would actually make a difference. You won't believe it, but... As she left the Student Support Center, a text came through on her phone from an unknown number. "Zeynep, this is Sarah from the anthropology department. I need to talk to you. I heard what you've been going through. You're not alone." Zeynep stopped. Who was Sarah? How had she heard? And why now? Another message followed. There are 12 others who've experienced similar things. Most chose to stay silent, but enough is enough. Tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. off-campus cafe. Come even if you just want to listen. Zeynep's heart raced. Could this be a trap or real help?
That night, lying in bed in her apartment, staring at the ceiling, she thought it over. Just a month ago, she had chosen silence. It'll get better with time, she had told herself. They'll get used to it. But it hadn't gotten better, and she no longer wanted to get used to it. You haven't seen the biggest surprise yet. The next evening, when Zeynep arrived at the cafe, she recognized Sarah right away. She was the smiling woman with the red scarf sitting at a corner table. Two others were with her, a young woman wearing a hijab and a serious-looking bearded man. Zeynep, welcome. I'm Sarah. This is Amira from psychology and Ahmed from the law school. Zeynep sat down. After ordering coffee, Sarah began. Our stories are different, but they share one thing. We realized that staying silent changes nothing. Amira chimed in. I stayed quiet for a whole year. My classmates made terrorist jokes. They thought I was laughing along, but inside, I was bleeding. Ahmed added, my case was different. I'll never forget the moment my professor told me I couldn't be objective because my religion made me biased. I'm a law student. Objectivity is my job, but he decided the moment he heard my name. But the real shock. Sarah placed a folder on the table. This is an unofficial report of discrimination cases against Muslim students on campus over the past 3 years. 47 separate incidents, none of them ever officially recorded. When Zeynep opened the folder, her hands shook. Each page was a story. A hijab-wearing student denied access to lab equipment because of a supposed safety risk. A student praying in a shared space labeled disruptive. A fasting student during Ramadan denied an exam deferral because they wouldn't be able to concentrate. A student named Muhammad rejected for an internship due to cultural fit. Every story fueled the anger inside Zeynep, but she also felt something else, strength. She wasn't alone, and right then, everything changed. Sarah said, we need to do something, but the right way, legal, visible, and effective. Ahmed added, as a law student, I've studied the university's anti-discrimination policies. On paper, they're perfect. In practice, they don't work at all. Amira leaned forward. We can request a meeting with campus administration, but if only a few of us do it, they'll ignore us. We need to create campus-wide awareness. Zeynep spoke for the first time. How? Sarah smiled. You're in biomedical engineering, right? Can you do data analysis? Yes, but how would that help? Here's how. We categorize these 47 cases and prepare a report proving there's a systematic pattern. Then, we organize a stories exhibition on campus, each case shared anonymously. People will see, read, and understand. Hold on, don't miss this detail. An idea struck Zeynep. What if we collect stories not just from Muslim students, but from everyone who's experienced discrimination? That way we build a bigger community. The silence around the table signaled agreement. Ahmed took notes. Good idea, but we have to be careful. Some students are afraid their names will be exposed. Everything stays anonymous. Sarah added, and we could become targets ourselves. We need to be ready for that. In that moment, Zeynep knew the path wouldn't be easy, but something had changed. Silence was no longer an option. You won't believe it, but... The next day, Zeynep requested a meeting with Professor Davids about her group project. She knocked during his office hours. Come in, Zeynep. The professor spoke without looking down from his computer screen. Zeynep sat down and took a deep breath. Professor, there's a problem with my group project. My teammates are refusing to work with me. They're excluding me from meetings and chats.
Professor Davids finally looked at her. He adjusted his glasses. "That's a serious accusation, Zeynep. Do you have proof?" Zeynep pulled out her phone and showed him the screenshots, the accidentally sent message, the group chat she'd been left out of. The professor studied the screen, then looked at her. "I see, but maybe there's been a misunderstanding. Students sometimes—" "No," Zeynep said, her voice surprisingly firm. "It's not a misunderstanding. This has been going on for 6 months."
But the real shock. Professor Davids leaned back in his chair. A long silence followed. Then he spoke. "Zeynep, I'm aware of your situation, but this is a sensitive issue. If you pursue an official complaint, the process could take a long time. Maybe it would be easier to switch you to another group?" The word easier burned inside Zeynep. They always expected her to take the easy way, stay quiet, accept it, fit in. "No, Professor, I don't want the easy way. I want the right way." The expression on Professor Davids' face shifted. Was it surprise or admiration? Zeynep couldn't tell. "All right, then let's start the official complaint process. But Zeynep, you should know this path will be difficult." "I know." As she left the office, her knees shook, but there was a smile on her face. She had taken the first step. You haven't seen the biggest surprise yet. That evening, a message came from Sarah. "Zeynep, great news! The student union approved our exhibition idea. 3 weeks from now, we can open Invisible Voices in the main conference hall. But we have a lot of work ahead. Meeting tomorrow?" Zeynep typed, "Yes." Then, in the quiet of her apartment, she slept peacefully for the first time in months. The next 3 weeks were the busiest period of Zeynep's life. By day, she attended classes and worked in the lab. By night, she met with Sarah, Amira, and Ahmed to prepare the exhibition. Data analysis was Zeynep's responsibility. The 47 cases were categorized. 34% related to physical appearance, hijab, beard, clothing. 28% name and origin-based prejudice. 22% restrictions on worship and religious practice. 16% academic and social exclusion. Hold on, don't miss this detail. The most striking finding, 68% of the cases had never been officially reported. Students had thought, nothing will change anyway. Ahmed prepared the legal foundation, referencing the university's Equality and Diversity Policy, the European Convention on Human Rights, and the UK Equality Act. Amira documented the psychological impact, increased anxiety, depression, and declining academic performance among affected students. Sarah coordinated everything. Exhibition panels were designed, anonymous stories written, and posters hung around campus. And right then, everything changed. A week before the exhibition, Zeynep received an unexpected email from Dr. Patricia Morgan, the University Equality and Diversity Director.
Dear Zeynep Ozkan, I've been informed about the Invisible Voices exhibition. I would like to meet with you. Is tomorrow at 3 p.m. convenient for my office? Zeynep immediately texted Sarah, "Is this good or bad?" Sarah replied, "Could be either, but go prepared. Bring all our documents." The next day, Dr. Morgan's office felt colder than expected. The walls were covered with awards and certificates, Best Diversity Practices, Inclusion Pioneer. Dr. Morgan, a serious but professional woman in her 50s, seated Zeynep and got straight to the point. "Zeynep, I understand the purpose of the exhibition, but there might be more constructive ways to do this. University administration is concerned that an event like this could send the wrong message." Wrong message? Zeynep's voice was sharp. "I mean, Manchester University values diversity immensely, but an exhibition like this could create the perception that we tolerate discrimination." But the real shock. Zeynep understood. This was an attempt to silence her. Polite, professional, but clear. "Dr. Morgan," Zeynep said, her voice steady, The exhibition has already been approved by the student union. Our goal isn't to slander the university, it's to make the truth visible, because an unseen problem can't be solved. Dr. Morgan's face changed. The mask of politeness slipped a little further. Zeynep, I'm speaking in your interest. If you go ahead with this exhibition, you and your friends could become targets. We already are targets, Dr. Morgan. Haven't you noticed? Silence. Dr. Morgan took a deep breath. Fine. If you're going to do the exhibition, then we'll be prepared too. But remember, you're responsible for the consequences. Zeynep stood up. We've been responsible for the consequences from the beginning. Breaking and rebirth. The day of the exhibition arrived, and the main conference hall was packed. Zeynep hadn't expected this much interest. Dozens of students stood in front of the panels, reading the anonymous stories. One panel read, "Just because I wear a hijab, my dorm roommate hid me when her family visited. You'll scare my mom," she said. Another, "My professor said Muslims can't escape medieval thinking. In class, in front of everyone. I was there." You won't believe it, but Zeynep noticed a woman in the corner crying. She walked over. "Are you okay?" The woman looked up. I went through something like this too, but I never told anyone. Now, here, I read my own story, shared anonymously. Someone listened." In that moment, Zeynep realized the exhibition wasn't just raising awareness, it was healing. At the other end of the hall, Professor Davids was carefully examining the panels. When he saw Zeynep, he approached. "Zeynep, I didn't know. I mean, I knew, but I didn't realize it was this widespread." Zeynep smiled, a bitter smile. "Now you do. You haven't seen the biggest surprise yet." In the middle of the exhibition, a large screen displayed the data graphs Zeynep had prepared, numbers, trends, analyses. And right then, Dr. Morgan entered the hall. Sarah was with her. Dr. Morgan took the microphone. "Hello, I'm Dr. Patricia Morgan, Director of Equality and Diversity. I want to congratulate the students who organized this exhibition." The hall fell silent.
Because they did something I should have done. They showed the truth. And now I promise you, these data, reports, and stories will go to the university administration's table, and real change begins now. Applause erupted. Zeynep looked at Sarah. Sarah was smiling, tears in her eyes. The days after the exhibition flew by. Invisible voices became the only topic on campus. Some students supported it, some criticized it, but no one could ignore it. Zeynep's inbox overflowed. Messages of thanks, messages of support, and some threats. "Who do you think you are dividing the campus? Go back where you came from." But Zeynep was no longer afraid. She had a community behind her. But the real shock, 2 weeks later, the university administration issued an official statement. New Manchester University Equality Policies. Discrimination Reporting System, Anonymous and Secure Platform. Mandatory diversity training for all academic and administrative staff. Muslim Student Support Center, new unit to be established. Quiet spaces, dedicated areas for prayer and worship. Accountability Committee, including student representatives. Sarah, Ahmed, Amira, and Zeynep sat in a cafe reading the statement. "We did it," Amira said, incredulous. "No," Zeynep replied. "We started it." 3 months later, Zeynep completed her group project with a new group. Emma, James, and Olivia had gone through disciplinary proceedings and lost points on their project grade. Working with her new teammates, Zeynep felt truly included for the first time. One day, boarding the subway, she stood again, but this time someone offered her a seat. A young British girl, smiling. "Here, please sit." "Thank you." The girl glanced at Zeynep's hijab. "I read one of the stories from the exhibition.
I don't know if it was yours, but it affected me. I'm sorry, people can be so blind sometimes. Zeynep smiled. It's okay. What matters is that they can see now. Here's the real shock. 6 months later, Zeynep completed her master's thesis. She graduated with honors. At the ceremony, Sarah, Ahmed, and Amira were by her side. Dr. Morgan gave a speech. This year, our campus experienced a special transformation, and we are grateful to the students who started it because they taught us something important. Silence is not the solution. Courage is the first step towards change. As Zeynep accepted her diploma and stood on stage, applause rose from the audience. But she was thinking only one thing. That morning she fell on the subway. She didn't know who she would become. Now she knew. She was Zeynep Özkan, and she was no longer silent. This story is inspired by real life. Thousands of students, workers, and individuals around the world face similar discrimination simply because of their faith, names, or appearance. Real statistics: hate crimes against Muslims in Europe rose 47% in the last 5 years. Hijab-wearing women have a 30% lower employment rate than non-hijab-wearing women. 68% of Muslim university students have experienced discrimination at least once. 72% of incidents are never officially reported. But this story carries hope, because every individual like Zeynep who breaks the silence makes the world a little fairer. Because people like Sarah, Ahmed, and Amira exist, showing solidarity despite differences. Because change doesn't come all at once. It comes from the sum of small acts of courage. You can do something too. If you're facing something similar, don't stay silent. Talk to someone. Start documenting dates, incidents, witnesses. Know you're not alone. Support groups, counselors, and legal aid exist. Take small steps. Every step is part of big change. If you're a witness, don't stay silent. Speak up. Support the victim. Don't leave them alone. Join collective action for systemic change. Remember, to remain silent in face of injustice is to take the side of the oppressor. Zeynep's story is over, but yours continues. What will you do? Support resources. UK. Tell Mama, Measuring Anti-Muslim Attacks. Equality and Human Rights Commission. National Union of Students, NUS. US. CARE, Council on American Islamic Relations. Southern Poverty Law Center, ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union. Europe, European Network Against Racism, NRA. OSCE Office for Democratic Institutions and Human Rights. Global, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, UN Human Rights Council. This story is fiction, but the pain is real. This story is hope, because change is possible. This story is yours, because one day, everyone has to make a choice. Will you stay silent, or will you stand up?